So the difference between a quote and a design is with a quote, you might want an area of paving or some artificial grass, and you're going to invest a good amount of your budget in that. So if you're going to do that anyway, you may as well explore the possibilities that you get within a design. Because what we'll do in a design is we'll go through function, aesthetic, practicality. Function will be what is it you want from the design. Do you want an area to entertain? What's the function of the light that's coming into your garden? Do you want to face that? There's so many possibilities to look at. What's the aesthetic? What style do you like? Do you like formal? Do you like contemporary? It's like a balance of both of those. Practicality, what's the topography of the site? What's the aspect? What's the soil like? We're going to really go into that. So it's a much more tailored version of your design. The cost can quite often be absorbed within the cost of the whole project. You might wastefully use paving. You could easily waste a few £1,000s if you're just having a big sprawl of paving, but it's not actually functional, which goes into that design process. So quite often we find the cost is actually absorbed. So it's a really efficient use of your budget, and at the end of it, you get a garden that is exactly what you want. So yeah, you can definitely use a design budget to get good value for money. How big does a patio need to be for a table and chairs? And sometimes just using too much paving can actually look cheap. It looks cheap because there's no need for it. So there's value to using the space efficiently, and it's using your budget efficiently. We're designing with your budget in mind. So on the website, we talk about the design triangle, which is function, aesthetic, and practicality. The function is like, what is it you want from it? It's your garden. Like, what do you want to do with it? Some people have children, they want a football pitch. Some people will face a landscape that has an amazing vista that they really want to tap into. That's a function because you want to have a view. It could be that you've got a conservatory and you want to have an outdoor room. So maybe we need to raise the level to make that sink and use the same material. There's so many different functions you can have, but it's part of that kind of dialogue between a designer and a customer that addresses the design triangle, which you don't get in a quote. A quote is just a customer going, we think we want some paving and some artificial grass, which might actually not be what they want because they've not had the opportunity to have that dialogue. Function, aesthetic is just the style. As part of the initial survey and analysis, we might notice style in your house and trying to bring that into the garden, or maybe you actually want to completely contrast it. So there's so many different aesthetics you can have. And the practicality is just what are the constraints of the site. Your budget might be a constraint. We use your budget well. So the constraints are fine, we work within them. Another constraint might be you're overlooked by houses and you want to change that. So we will work with those views in mind. So the design triangle will ultimately give you the garden that you want. But the gardens that capture people's attention, it's the way that the landscape complements each other. There's a reason you want to walk into a woodland or a park. It's not all just a hard surfacing. There's a confusion that plants have to be high maintenance. If you lay a monoblock drive, you might get sort of weeds between the monoblock and let people easily manage it. But a planting plan could be a row of Japanese forest grasses, and there's not really much maintenance to that. Equally, we can go into more detailed planting plans. We look at, matrix plants, which are structural, primary plants, which are things like salvias, which have colour, and scatter plants, which are things like alliums, which will weave through. Yeah, we can plan that for you, and we can also provide a yearly schedule. People don't need to be scared of planting plans. I think they should embrace them.